to say, I don't know what. 1,000 times I'm going to say, I don't know how. But will you ever try to get what I'm saying, to hear what I'm saying, to think about what I'm saying? The words I can't run through my mind every day, but I don't have an answer for why I can't. Inside my brain is telling me that one thing is bad and that another thing is good, but in reality, both things are bad. Too much of one thing is bad for everybody, but any of an eating disorder is bad for everyone. Not just yourself, but those around you too. I feel like I've destroyed my family. Bit and bone. They see my skeleton. They see my lies now, my secrets. Nothing is hidden because I don't have any clothes big enough to hide the scars on my body. How can you dress a skeleton and say that they're alive? Because I'm not. I am 25 years old. For 15 years, I've cared about my appearance, and I've cared about what goes into my body. But I have cared more about what others think about me than what I think about myself. And again, those words, I can't, cross my mind because I can't understand it. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. I try and learn more and more about the brain and psychology and the analysis of eating disorders and what's in our heads and why it's going through our heads and why it's happening, thinking that the more I know, the easier it will be to understand. No one will ever understand, and I hate that word. No one will ever understand. They might try and get it. They might be able to relate. But is there anyone sitting in your shoes, in your clothes, in this body, in this life? Is there anyone out there who is doing exactly that right now? In the same moment as you, with the same circumstances around you and everything. No, there is no one. Even in another dimension where everything might be exactly the same, it's still another dimension. It's not exactly the same. And people don't get that. My family doesn't get that. My family doesn't get that I lie to them all the time. I call myself a professional manipulator because I am one. I'm a professional manipulator because that's what I've always been. I'm not just good at manipulating others, I can manipulate myself too. I'm sick. I am mentally sick and I cannot do anything about it. It is called a mental illness for a reason. And the world does not understand the brain because the brain is drastically changing with every day. New neurons are building, new neuron pathways are being created, new brain cells are even being explored. No one knows what's happening because there's too much to know about. And our world is so OCD and so perfect that we have to know all of it. We have to be able to explore all of it, but guess what? We can't. Because it's not it. So you think you understand what an eating disorder is like? Do you wake up every morning? You're afraid to look in the mirror because you see your jawline, your collarbones, your shoulders, and your ribs, and it's not enough for you. It's not enough until your lab results are showing that you're severely malnourished. Your albumin is low, protein is low, your CO2 is out of this range low. You start becoming so anemic that doctors worry you have a GI bleed. My family has no idea. They don't know what I'm going through. No one understands it. When I look at a plate of food, I don't see what is in front of me. I don't see the apple. I see the thousands of numbers built inside that apple, each one being a calorie. And I think about eating those. And I know my body needs them. I know my body needs them to survive. And I get really weak and tired. And for heaven's sake, I've almost died because I don't let myself have those numbers. Those, what should be meaningless numbers. And instead, my mind focuses on those digits, those numerical values in labels that the government says we have to put on there now. And I notice those numbers and I hate those numbers. And my entire goal is to find the lower number. Even when they're trying to categorize how sick you are as an anorexic, they put you at a BMI. I know my BMI, and I'm constantly wanting that number lower and lower, just like the weight. Even though I've gotten rid of the scales, I see doctors all the time, people. It's not like my weight is a mystery to me. I know what it is. So you think you understand what it is like to constantly have something gnawing in your head. Something telling you what you can and can't do, what's good and what's bad, what's right and what's wrong. A voice inside you saying that if you do this, you're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret every moment, every bite, every number of it. Your family's gonna see. You're gonna be weak. You won't be strong anymore. People see you as this strong person. Guess what? That's not you. No, you're not that person because you're not strong enough to control how many numbers you put into your body. You're not strong enough to understand or to get or to relate even to yourself that you're helpless. You can't scream out, help, help, as many times as you want because people think you're crying wolf. Or they think you're beyond help. And people drop you. Insurance companies drop you. Your mind forgets about you and you lose it. Everything you do is measured in numbers. And all I can think about is restricting them and making that number smaller. But what I don't get is why my brain does that. Why does my brain torture me like this? Why does my brain tell me to lie? Why does my brain tell me not to do something, not to go out with people because they're gonna judge me and they're gonna look at me. They're gonna see the numbers written on my chest of how big I am. They're gonna label me and judge me and criticize me. And I'm not gonna know what to do. I'm sensitive. I'm weak. I'm fragile. Those words, you hear them so many times. So many times. But how many of you can actually say them? I'm fragile. You think you understand what it's like to have an eating disorder. You think you understand what's it like to be fragile. You think you understand what's it like to have your life and everything you own shattered into a million pieces with the simplest touch. You think you understand, but you will never understand. The only person who is ever going to understand what I'm going through is me.